psychodrama! It wasn't that terrifying. The worst part was actually the build-up before the psychodrama. About a week before, I started to get increasingly nervous, and then the nervousness peaked about 3 days prior, and then I started to shut down and not really feel much of anything at all. Teachers at Rhodes would say that this was me detaching from my emotions and my body and getting right into my head. I started rationalizing and saying it wouldn't be that bad and I would be fine and this was good for me, and then I just started rehearsing in my head over and over and over and over again what I wanted to say. Historically, my head is a very safe place to be. It is usually easier for me to think my way through an emotion than it is to actually feel it. However, the whole point of a psychodrama is basically that you cannot do this. You have to eventually emote and let it out, or else it's going to just stay bottled up inside and cause limiting beliefs that affect your behavior. It's super annoying. I wish I could just think my feelings away. That would be really convenient. But apparently we can't, so cue the psychodrama. The morning of the big event, I was still very much in my head. However, before the actual reenactment, my counselor did a half-an-hour presentation on some of my major life events to help verse the class in what they were going to see. And that's when it hit me and it flipped, and all of a sudden, I was right into my emotion and I started crying. Just nice silent tears at first, but then of course we go into the reenactment. And I cried, and then I yelled and I screamed, and then I cried some more, and then I hit the punching bag with a makeshift bat, and then I cried some more, and then I yelled at someone else, and then I cried some more, and I cried, 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 and I got such a bad headache. Like right here, just right across the middle of my forehead. It was like throbbing, and it killed. So right afterwards, I went home and I had a nap, went for a nice walk, and we went to go get kombucha, and then I came home and I drank the kombucha in a champagne flute and I had a nice bath. After that though, I started to feel better and I actually got this big surge of energy, and so I decided to clean my apartment. I thought this was a great sign, like, oh, I'm over it. I've shifted my emotions. I'm healed. However, upon further reflection, I remembered that one of the limiting beliefs I discovered when I was working with my counselor was that sadness is consuming, and that if you go too deep into sadness, you can't get out. That really scares me. So historically, I do let myself feel sadness, and I'll go into it for a little bit, and I get sad, and I have tears, and then I pull myself out of it and I say, okay, and let's get the hell out of there, carry on with life, and I go find some tangible way to be productive. And that's exactly what I did. I made room for all of the emotions that came up during the psychodrama, and then I went home and I took care of myself, and I rested, and I ate, and I relaxed, and then I picked myself up, I dusted myself off, and I went and I did my laundry. I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad thing to be able to get out of sadness. However, because it is a pattern for me, it's definitely something that I should be aware of going forward. Overall though, it was a very good experience. It was intense, but I'm really proud of myself for really going where I needed to go. And I do feel as if I have shifted something around what I chose to address. I no longer feel as enmeshed with the emotion and the anger that I had concerning these people and these situations before. And we will just have to wait and see how it actually continues to unfold over the coming weeks. I did surprise myself a little during the process, however. I had practiced it so many times in my head, I thought I knew exactly how it was going to play out. But when it was actually happening, I ended up going to some places that I didn't actually realize I needed to go. So that is one of the biggest pieces that I have learned about psychodramas throughout this entire process. You can plan and prepare for it, but ultimately you have to surrender to the force of wherever the emotions decide to take you. Your emotions do know better where you actually need to go as opposed to where your head just thinks you probably need to go. Which is annoying, but true. That's all I have for you today for a little lesson with a touch of insight. Next week, I am counseling someone through their own psychodrama. We have been doing a lot of preparation and I am super pumped about it. So I will tell you all about that when I see you next week.